There is a compliment that I just don't like, and it's this: you are gifted. I do not like that kind of compliment, because the reality is the person that we're talking to is often not gifted. They actually don't have that gift at all. They've just worked really hard to be so good at something that they look gifted. And when you actually say, well, you are gifted, you are saying you did not have to work. It was just given to you. In this video, we're going to talk about giving and receiving compliments. And if you finish this video, I'm going to talk to you as a coach, because this is the Coach Builder channel, about a way to compliment your client in such a way that you help them transform and accept a new identity. When somebody says that you are gifted, they are really saying you didn't have to work. It was just given to you, or it was easier for you than it would be for me, and that's my excuse for not being good at it. That is not a compliment. That is actually an insult. So we don't want to do that to each other. Now, also, if somebody says that to you, that you are gifted, I want you to reframe that for them in as polite and kind and thoughtful and respectful a way as possible. Hey, I'm interrupting this video because so many coaches are charging too little for their coaching. They have a lot of value, a lot of expertise, but the money they're charging is not enough, and you actually know it. You know you're delivering more value than what you're being paid for. I have a coach's pricing guide that's going to help you understand what to charge for your products, and even give you some inspiration on what sort of products you need to create as a coach in order to get more revenue. And here's the thing: if you are able to charge more for your coaching, the person that you're coaching actually respects your information and your coaching a lot more because they paid for it. The less you charge, the less you're respected. The more you charge, the more serious people take your coaching. If you want to be taken serious as a coach, charge more for really good value, and my coach's pricing guide is going to help you do that. Grab the link in the description, just click on that link and grab the pricing guide today. It's going to help you. I saw this expertly done by Novak Djokovic, the world's greatest tennis player, the greatest tennis player in the history of the sport. On 60 Minutes was actually told, you have the gift of mental stamina, you have the gift of mental strength. And he immediately pushed back and said, it was not a gift. This has been hard-earned. I've had to work at this really, really difficult.
Can I tell you what one of the hardest things about covering you is? People understand big muscles and speed and grace. Mental strength, which is what I think is your great gift, is much harder to articulate. Can you
I would have to correct
explain?
you. I have to correct you. It's not a gift. It's something that comes with work.
All right, notice how respectful he was, but he immediately pushed back. In fact, he was slightly offended by the idea. And watch how the interviewer actually says, he apologizes, he keeps going, but he said, you're right. And so one of the things that we're saying to the person who's talking to us, we're saying, look, that's actually not true. I worked really hard, because what we're defending there is a value. We're defending a principle. And the principle is hard work almost always leads to transformation and success. And we want to diminish that by saying, well, some people are just gifted. And listen, don't misunderstand me. Certain people, they do have it a little easier in certain areas, but this is not an all or nothing, right? You've worked hard, regardless of who you are, for what you've accomplished. And that message of hard work pays off, rather than some people win the lottery and some people don't, is fantastic for all of humanity. If we all understand, no matter who we are, no matter where we come from, if we work very hard and we hone our skills, we are much more likely to succeed. And we should spread the word. You guys, hard work, for the most part, really pays off. It's people who actually don't want to work hard who believe mostly that other people win the lottery, because they just don't know how to do it. They don't want to do it. And so they make excuses for people who have succeeded so they don't have to feel bad. Don't let that mentality affect you. Don't let it affect your friends. Understand, if I work hard, I can and probably almost certainly will succeed. And when you do, don't let people call you gifted or talented or whatever. You actually want to say, no, that was a lot of hard work. And if you work hard, you can succeed too. Now, let's talk about coaching. I promise you we'd apply this to coaching. Never say to your client, you are gifted. In fact, you almost want to say the opposite. You want to say to your client, I bet people tell you all the time that you are gifted, that you're a gifted communicator. And they're going to say yes. And you say, I want you to understand something. It isn't a gift. It was hard work. Walk me through when you first started communicating, when you first started writing, when you first started giving speeches. How hard was that? How many hours do you think that you have put in? And when they actually sit and analyze the hard work that they've done to get where they are, then they can feel good about themselves rather than feel guilty for having received a gift. The reality is they should feel good about themselves because this was hard-earned success. When people say to me, Don, you're a gifted communicator, I actually say, I really appreciate you seeing that. However, I no longer believe that I'm gifted. And I go back to when I first started, I was a terrible communicator. I was terrible on stage when I got up. When I first started writing books, the books were long-winded and arrogant. I have learned to communicate well over thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. What you're also saying to that person, what I'm saying to that person who complimented me is, you can do this if you just, and maybe not in communication, maybe it's something else that you want to do, but if you actually apply yourself to something, you can get really good at it, and you can sort of trick people into thinking that you are gifted. You're actually, you might have some gifts more than other people, some athletic ability more than other people. That's not a gift. That's just a propensity to succeed in some specific area. God requires work from all of us. And if you do the work, you get the reward. And so rather than saying you are gifted at something to your client, what you want to do is affirm their hard work, because they're going to get so much more out of that compliment. In fact, I would even do the opposite. I would say, I've noticed that you're an incredibly great communicator. I don't think that is just purely a gift. I think that you've worked at it. Can you walk me through your history of communication, where you started giving speeches, where you started writing? And then when they walk through that, help them understand you have actually spent thousands of hours being curious and doing hard work to become a better person, and then affirm their work, not their gift. That is a real compliment that changes them. If you say, well, you have a gift, or you're just gifted, or God gave you a gift, that sounds like a compliment, but it's actually diminishing their self-esteem, and you never want to do that as a coach. Let's affirm in order to transform. The way people transform is hard work. When somebody compliments you and say you're gifted, I want you to politely push back. And then as a coach, we never want to say to our people, you are gifted or you have a natural talent. You actually want to say, you have developed a skill. Congratulations. I affirm the hard work that you've done. Stop calling people gifted. Start affirming the work that they've done to accomplish what they've done. Stop letting people label you as gifted. That's a diminishing compliment. Instead, reframe that and say, I want you to understand me differently. I've put in thousands of hours and gotten better. That's important because I believe almost anybody can do the exact same thing. Let's change the way we give and receive compliments.